What it do, family? It's your brother Max Sikdadonic, aka to Hootie Son, which means I shine through the wisdom. Here to you today to bring you some liar pants on fire. So I came across this article today, and this article makes me smile because you know a lot of people's been in our way when it comes to this reparations fight and transformative black agenda. There's a lot of people who may look like us but ain't for us. There's a lot of people who use their face that looks like us to protect or shield guard people who don't. There's a lot of people who takes pride in being gatekeepers. But when white supremacy is done with their tools, they always break them. Democrats turns on the squad. Colleagues say their hard left policies of defund the police is backfiring, and voters are more interested in inflation and grocery store prices, with party trying to avoid a Republican bloodbath in November. Mm, 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 mm. When we first started talking about the squad and how they didn't stand for us, nobody was really listening. Then everybody started using this PLC shit, people of color, and all this other crap, and we wasn't listening. And right now, there's black people leaving the Democratic Party in droves. But it isn't because of the squad. Even though the media will try to frame it as if that is the issue, we're going to actually get into some real issues. So a string of senior Democratic Party voices is warning that the rise of the squad and their lurch towards a more progressive policies are alienating voters who care more about pocket issues than defund the police. The concern emerges this week after months of polls showing Democrat lagging far behind Republicans in congressional polling, triggering fears of a midterm bloodbath. And this is very, very odd that they would say that, because they already know what to do. Cut the check. Cut the check. Cut the check. Give us a transformative black agenda. They already know what to do. And they could do it like this. They could do it in the snap of a finger. You seen what they did to everybody else. Well, we're going to get into that. Let's not jump ahead. But we know what they can do. They know what they can do. But they want to sit here and talk about some bloodbath that they have created themselves. So now they want to go ahead and put this on the squad because, the squad has never been for us in the first place. And they know that they're a part of their tool kit. Y'all was the one out here yelling this shit, screaming, defund the police and all this other stuff. Yeah, we gonna go ahead and put that on you. We ain't gonna tell the world the real issue. We're just gonna put it all on you and say it's because of your defund the police and your high progressional policies. Far left progressional policies. Taken together, they suggest a push to defund the police, tear down statues, and rename schools is getting in the way of Democrats holding the House and the Senate. Excuse me. Now, you love to see it. You love to see it because you thought that you could go ahead and scour your way into the white supremacist class, the oppressor class. You could turn a blind eye to what's really going on. And ain't no repercussions going to come from it. But luckily for you, four women, we got to call out the truth and not applaud a lie. So, this article, for the most part, liar, liar, pants on fire. You want to know why we're leaving in mass amounts and in search of different parties or in search of different different ways to go about things. I'm drawing a blank on what I was trying to exactly say, the exact word. But we're looking at new ways in order to get what we want and not what they tell us we want. And a lot of these people has blocked this progression for a long time, the real progression, not what they tell you in the media is progression. A lot of these people, these four women being a few of them. But no, it has nothing to do with the squads defund the police. And I'm going to prove that to you. This next article, called "It's Time for Black Americans to Break Up with the Democratic Party." This article didn't even come out a full 6 months ago. Came out November of last year. November of last year. They claim that most Americans is more concerned with inflations, not black Americans. We're concerned with reparations and a transformative black agenda because here's the thing. As inflation goes up, everyone else is getting bailout but us. And that's another thing we're going to prove. Everyone has been getting all kinds of freaking reparations, stimulus, something to stimulate their communities, policies. And this is within the first year of Biden's being in office. And all throughout the first year, and still to this day, Biden and his administration continue to give the black community a huge middle finger, bending over, telling us to kiss their ass. Everything we ask for, they give to others. But they want to talk about racial equality. It's a deliberate spit in the face. So, the truth is, it's just, we're not putting up with it no more. The truth is, we're just not putting up with it no more. So, we're going to go in here, read a bit here. Dig me? The truth is, all is not well between Black America and the Democratic Party. And in the November 2021 election night, results might very well turn out to be the rumbles of a breakup that's long overdue. That's long overdue. That's long overdue. So what she's speaking about here, if you don't remember, in November, Glenn Youngkin actually won the governor's seat in Virginia, out of all places in America, nonetheless, Virginia, the most supposed democratic place in the United States, they turned it red. So, with that being said, and this is another situation that's going on right now, they're one seat away from losing the Senate. One seat. So why aren't they doing what's necessary to keep that seat? Are they trying to lose on purpose? Are they trying to lose on purpose? In Black America, there is a growing contempt for an influential far left that talks a woke game on diversity and appropriates our struggle in their as and taking points, but offer our community little beyond the feeling of inclusion. And that's the problem. Symbolism. Oh, it's all about you. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. That's why I'm going to be here for you. And then when you get into the office, they literally do the entire opposite of what they campaign on. Far left agendas like abolish ICE, defund the police, and other social justice mainstays make us of provocative wordsmithing, to commodify the Black American experience of racial inclusion while providing careers and other benefits to white liberals. Provocating wordsmithing. Never heard it really put like that, but that is a wonderful way to put it. But yes, basically, they sell you a freaking dream, all while giving all the jobs and resources to white liberals. And I'm not going to read all of the article. You guys can go and read all of the rest of the article. But what I'm doing here is I'm making some points, and I want y'all to stay up on these points. Here's another article. Even if you examine all of those other pieces, you will still find that race is a big factor. Fund climate justice now. This is from Mike. Biden's race-neutral approach to environmental justice is a mistake. And this was just posted about 4 hours ago. So people are coming out and telling you exactly what's going on. Now, this is a real puff piece here too, because instead of calling it out directly, they use words like well-meaning and things like that. But we're going to go in here. And we're going to talk about it. So, Biden's administration has been just basically taking a colorblind overall for every all type policy there. So this is what this whole structure and this whole, this whole article here is about. If you want to read, go read it all. But I want to talk about what exactly is being said, that the gist of it right now. I want to make this point. The decision to go full colorblind and attempt to ignore race is a common fault of well-meaning, that's that word, but often clueless Democrat politicians who insist that not seeing race means treating everyone as equals. That might be fine if if all things were equal, but they're not. Communities of colors have worse health outcomes in part because they have been forcibly exposed to the more environmental hazards through everything from racist redlining practices and housing laws that that cornered them into neighborhoods closer to pollution, to a lack of generational wealth that makes escaping such conditions significantly more challenging. The issue is systematic, and seemingly small injustice can lead to massively harmful outcomes. So I didn't like that he called Democrats well-meaning, because none of them are. Neither are the Republicans. But do you see, like, we're actually saying what the problem is. We've been saying what the problem is. It ain't got nothing to do with just these four women. It got everything to do with them using our plight, our struggle, to try and pass things that has nothing to do with us. But it has nothing to do with them specifically in their leftist policies of defund the police. Because the defund the police policy, I don't hear many people talking about it at all as a problem, white or black. White people want to, whether they're doing it to just, sound like they're on your side or an ally or something, I don't know. But shit, I'm in Texas right now, and I heard white people screaming defund the police. Not all of them, but I've heard of significant enough. It's definitely not what this article is talking about, though. I haven't seen it. Okay, but moving on. As I said, this is from The Hill. Black voters are fleeing Biden in droves. Here's why. And once again, they're going to try to put it on all other things except for the fact that they're not giving anything that we asked for, and they're giving everything that we asked for to everyone else. Black voters are fleeing President Biden in droves, and it's hard to see a scenario under which they come back anytime soon. President Biden's poll numbers have been stunningly bad lately. The most recent CNN polls has him at 58% disapproval, 41% approval. In December, Biden was at 49% approval, and in the same poll. And among those who disapprove of his performance, 56% say the president didn't accomplish anything in his first year, which they approved. Now, let's see if they actually speak about that. No, they don't. But what they do is they sit here and they give you a bunch of doo-doo, but they give you the numbers. They let you know that, we want you to know people are disapproving of this guy, and I don't think that he's going to get him back. To be fair, President Trump's poll numbers were similarly dismal at the stages of his presidency, but I don't know why my tongue is tied right now. To be fair, President Trump's poll number were similarly dismal at the stages of his presidency. But there are two major differences. One, Trump's polls could be largely explained by the special counsel investigation into possible Russia collusion and the 2016 elections, which ultimately led nowhere. Yeah. So all that time, Russiagate, Russiagate. And now they're going to bring back Russiagate. Watch what I say. Trump's base, those who strongly supported him, was infinitely stronger and more reliable than Biden's current base, which is just 15% strongly approving. Ain't much strongly approving, ain't much of the base at all. So only 15% strongly approve in Joe Biden, I guess. Uh, I'm just saying this. Look, right now, black people are waking the hell up real quick. Right here it says two more big numbers to consider. Less than 7 in 10 black voters, 69%, support the 46th president. And I will argue is less than that. This is significant because more than 9 in 10 black voters, 92%, voted for him in 2020. And I would say it was a significant lower number than that as well. Because for the most part, a lot of the black people that I talk to, they might be lying, but they say they didn't vote. Some say they voted for him and they immediately regretted it. So we're talking about almost a 25-point drop in a relatively short period of time. Now they say inflation plays a huge role here. Let's go into why. Journal estimating that the higher prices of goods is costing families an extra $276 per month, or an additional $3,300 or so annually. Many poor and middle class families and single parents and individuals simply cannot afford that while living paycheck to paycheck. Simply cannot afford. So you understand why we out here speaking about reparations and the transformative black agenda. This is what we want specifically. It bears repeating. Joe Biden won the Democratic nomination for presidency because he wasn't Senator Bernie Sanders, and won the general election because he wasn't Donald Trump. That's it. That's exactly what it is. But see, here's another thing. Boom, bam, boom, bam, boom. Black Democrats see bleaks 2022 as Biden disappoints on issues. People are calling out issues, and this one is about the voters' right bullcrap, but nobody cares about the voters' right bullcrap. Black people don't give a damn about voters' rights. And let me put it like that. Put it like this. In the sense of which it's being pushed, we don't care about that. We care about reparations and the transformative black agenda. But instead of doing that, they want to sit here and tell you lies about this being the reason, the squad being the reason. Squad ain't nowhere near the reason. Calm down, sit down. And if you believe that, get you a glass of tea, drink it, then go run into oncoming traffic. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Let me clear that up. I no way, shape, and form believe in committing suicide at all. When I say that, I mean, go do something to get your head right. Maybe you should run into oncoming traffic if this is the way you think that your people should be treated. But I am no shape, form telling you to go do it. I'm suggesting it. moving along. Now, let's see what he does for everybody else. Oh, API community groups call on Biden to allocate $300 million to address anti-Asian hate. Fake news. Anti-Asian hate. Ain't nobody lived the life we lived here, but everybody else is supposed to be more oppressed than us. Ain't nobody living the life that we live here, but everybody is so more oppressed than us. Some more oppressed that Biden, I almost called him Biden because he's just Obama and a fucking as a white old man, because that's exactly what the hell Obama probably just is anyway. He's just a white man in blackface, and he's proved that to you time and time again by telling all y'all to kiss his ass time and time again. I've already done shows on that. Hell, you could go all over the line and find shows about Obama doing the black community absolutely wrong. This is why the black community left in 2012. Stop engaging with the whole political system in 2012. But instead, when he got this call for allocation of funds, he even gave them a whole bill, executive order signed in. This is directly from the White House, so I don't want anybody talking no stuff. Administration advances. These motherfuckers are, how you give equity to people that didn't. My God. See, I read these things and I get infuriated because like the wording of these things are so freaking like they're put there for a reason. They're put there for a reason because the only people that has equity in this country is us. The descendants of American slaves. That's the only people that has equity in this country. And so we want equity. We don't want equality. We want what's owed to us to put us on the footing that we're supposed to be on. But yet you want to go around and give everyone else equity but us. You could have gave them equality because they already have it here. And a lot of people don't know the difference between equality and equity. Equality is this. All right, imagine 3 children standing at a baseball game or something, watching a baseball game, but there's a fence there. And only one of those children can see over the fence. One of those children can see halfway. Well, can't see halfway. He's only halfway tall, so he can't see. And the other is shorter than that. So equality would be giving everybody a crate to stand on so they can watch the game. But equality says that if I do that, then only person that will still be able to see is maybe, the tall person and maybe the middle height person. Equity says I give everything, I'll give what is needed to the person that needs it the most. So the one that's the shortest, I'm going to give you 3 crates. The one who's middle height, I'm going to give you 2 crates. And the other one, since he could already see, I don't need to give you a crate, you can already see. This is what equity is. And this is what they're giving to people that didn't go through building the country and went through all the racial disparities and went through all the policies and went through all the Jim Crow. None of that. They want to give equities to a bunch of people that floated over here or flew over here and has benefited from the lack of our equity. Administration advances equity and opportunities for Asian Americans, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islander communities across the country. But you wonder why black people are leaving. You wonder why black people's fed up. We're telling you why. We're telling you why. You go off, you invest $31 billion in Native American communities, you go off and do that with no problem. Black people have been screaming for a crime reform bill for so goddamn long because the person who literally wrote the damn crime bill in 1994 is now in office, and it has devastated our community. So we are asking for bills to freaking fix that. What do? You go on and give Native Americans the same bill we was asking for. So are black people supposed to be on drugs? I think that you think that we are. I think that you think that we are. Because then you go off and start talking about this, paying $250,000, damn near, each to a group of illegals who broke the law to get here. Oh, but we can't get a policy. We can't get reparations. I don't even have the other one pulled up. But he did damn show when we said we want you to defund the police. He said, no, I want to increase the police. It's funding. Let's increase their funding. They do a hard job. As a matter of fact, he just signed into office legislation to give reparations to gays who wasn't allowed to get married during the time of Trump. Do you think we're on crack? My good man. I think you do. That's why you wrote the freaking crime bill. You wrote the drug bill. So while the government got us hooked on drugs, you write the bill to put us away for the government getting our communities hooked on drugs. But they think we're leaving because, these folk and their progressive policies. These folk and their progressive policies. We're leaving because we're tired of symbolism bullshit. We're leaving because we're tired of the way y'all treat us. We're leaving because of the way that you disrespect us. We're leaving because of the way that you guys blatantly look us in our face and say, fuck you. We're leaving because of people like this dirty bastard here, James Niggaborn Kleinburn, who says he's against reparations. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? He's against reparations. But let's see what niggas Jim Born, nigga Jim Born Kleinburn, fuck out of here. Anyway, Let's see what he does for other people. He introduced the bill 2021, 2022, HR 1619, to get the Catawba Indian Nation Lands Act. Aren't those the same Indians that was like really so freaking bloodthirsty, being a part of the slave catchers crew or whatever, that the slaves would rather be caught by white folk than them? Wasn't them the same natives that was scouting black people's heads during slavery? Oh, but you could go and secure land for them. You can go and actually get bills passed for them. Okay. And it passed the House. Let's see. It's the same bill that he tried to do 2 years ago. It was introduced 2 years ago. Excuse me. HR 1694, 2019 to 2020, Native American Voting Rights Act, 2019, it was introduced. HR 912, 2019 to 2020. And this was to amend Native American Programs Act of 1974 to provide flexibility and reauthorization to ensure the survival and continuing validity of Native American languages. Excuse me. It's just interesting how many acts this man has put in for Native Americans. But you sit on the Congressional Black Caucus. You are a black man. You are from the families of the sharecroppers that we're sitting here fighting to get people to understand some shit you should already understand. That's why. Nigga Jim born, Klein born. I don't. Fuck this nigga, man. And y'all hear me, I'm not even I don't even pull punches with these niggas. Fuck these fucking coons, bro. All day. Because it pisses me the hell off. Because what people do is they go off and do this dumb shit. My apologies, had some technical difficulties. But what does he do when it's time for us? He tells us he want to lift every voice and sing the national anthem. These people are just disrespectful. But even when you're looking at the way that these people do things, it's totally disrespectful. So if you look here, this was just introduced by Cory Booker and Cori Bush. And even if they give policy now, because they're going to need some constituents, they need some people to vote for them. So now they're trying to reach right over to the black immigrant community. Right? And it's Cory Booker, Cori Bush, and more than 100 Democrats are calling on President Biden to address the treatment of black migrants coming into the United States and the immigration system. Cory Booker also wants to do something for black people too. Foundational Black Americans, ADOS, Black Americans, he wants to do something for them too, but it's a bit different. It's a bit different. What he want to do is he wants to give $10 million to African American museums over a 5-year period, which is just another way of whitewashing African American history. Next thing you know, you're going to walk in there, you're going to see Obama up there being revered like he's Malcolm X. You're going to see Kamala Harris on the same wall as Rosa Parks or Mealy Fuller. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving pieces. Within this man's want to give that money to African American museums. Come on now. More symbolization, one. Nothing tangible. Nothing that can help. No bills that can stop police from doing any type of vicious crimes. No hate crime bills. Nah, we'll shoot you about $10 million to the African American History Museum. How does that benefit black people at all? How does that help black people get out of their situation at all? Don't worry, I'll wait. If you really want to talk about why black people are really leaving in droves, if you really want to talk about it, let's talk. Man, Biden want to hand out safe smoking kits. And I got a bunch of dumbasses want to tell me because he did say, he wants to hand out safe smoking kits for racial inequality. And so a lot of people right now, a lot of dumbasses, because they had to backtrack because everybody started calling it out. Everybody started calling it out. Enraged, calling it out. Livid, calling it out. So they had to backtrack, and so they started doing all these little fact checks, and they started with recanting a lot of those papers and hiding those papers through the algorithm. All of those breaking news stories, and even then they changed the way that it says, like, this wasn't one of the originals. Why the Biden administration wants to hand out safe smoking kits. One of the original reports that I saw, and I was trying to find it, I just can't find it because they'd been throwing stuff through the algorithm. But it literally said Biden administration wants to fund $30 million for crack pipes for racial inequality. That's exactly word for word what it said. So before we close out, we're going to go through one of those little fact checks because we're open-minded people. We are open-minded people. So we're going to listen. We're going to assess. And then we're going to come to our own conclusion. So let's go.
Kim, what's on your radar?
Well, I'm wanting to do an in-depth fact check. Over the past few days, there's been a media frenzy over the Biden administration setting aside $30 million in what they call safe smoking kits, and it being tied to racial equality. Now, Ryan and Robbie talked about this a bit yesterday here on Rising with the panel, but I want to go deeper into this and show exactly where this claim came from and whether or not it's true, especially in light of Jen Psaki coming out yesterday saying this was misinformation. That's the word she used. And the White House asserting the money will not be used used for crack pipes. All this week, people have been in a frenzy over the Biden administration giving out crack pipes to drug users under his agenda to advance racial equality. Fox News has been covering it on nearly every show. Twitter has been up in arms. Here's Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn tweeting, "End government-funded crack pipes." Here's Tariq Nasheed, a known provocateur and self-described race baiter, tweeting, "Instead of giving foundational Black Americans constructive tangibles, Biden and Democrats are giving out crack pipes as a form of racial equality." Seriously. Now, this sounds totally insane.
Now think about it. The government gave the Black community crack cocaine. It destroyed our community. Then, in 1994, Joe Biden, Jim Crow Joe, wrote the bill that put the people away who was hooked on the drugs that the government put into our communities in the first place. It destroyed lives. It destroyed careers. It destroyed families. And almost 20 years, 30 years later, almost 30 years later, it's been 28 years. Here he comes back talking about he wants to now give you the tools to do the drugs that got put into the community by the government that he wrote the bill to get you locked up for in the first place. He wanted to put you back on those drugs. But no, they say it's not about the crack pipe. There's no, it's misinformation, right? All right, let's go on.
Admittedly, my first thought was, I understand why there are safe needle programs, because needles cause a number of other transmissible diseases. You don't want to be dealing with a hepatitis or an HIV problem on top of battling a drug addiction crisis. But a crack pipe? Are we at the point in the COVID-19 pandemic that we fear drug users will share pipes and contract the virus? That was my first initial reaction. But then I thought, this can't be real. And now with Jen Psaki saying it's misinformation.
And literally that was the reaction to most people who saw that. This cannot be real because it is so disrespectful. It just couldn't be real. Like, are you really just trying to give up your presidency? If that's what's trying to, is that what you're trying to do? But you would come to find out that the truth is more likely stranger than fiction itself.
It's time for a fact check. So it turns out that it's not totally inaccurate and it's not totally accurate. Surprise, surprise. But it's definitely an overblown claim. And now that there's been a spotlight shined on the program, the White House has now clarified that the safe smoking kits will not include pipes. They will instead include things like alcohol wipes and plastic mouthpieces so people don't have to directly share pipes or cut their lips on sharp edges. So where all of this stems from is last November, the White House issued a press release on actions the Biden-Harris administration had taken to address the addiction and overdose epidemic. In it, the White House announced it had allotted nearly $4 billion of the American Rescue Plan to go towards substance abuse and mental health services. $30 million of that $4 billion in funds was set aside for what they called harm reduction services. The White House called this a historic amount that would enhance interventions like needle exchange and disposal programs. And hey, people like myself who live in areas with high levels of drug use would prefer to not be stepping over dirty needles in the streets, or worse, stepping on them in the sand on the beach.
So I would have to ask, where do you live, Kim? Because I know it's not in the Black community. So who are those drug users in your community that's leaving needles and meth pipes around? Because Black people, we don't tend to want to do meth. But let's call that out. Ain't nobody gonna say that. Ain't nobody gonna sit here and try to make it seem like, well, Black people love meth too. No, you can't do that because that's not Black people's drug of choice. Never have been. But let's go.
So I appreciate an increase in this money when there's obviously an increase in drug use. Not to mention, just because a person is addicted to drugs shouldn't mean they inevitably must also suffer from other diseases as well. But here's the thing. We actually don't know where this $30 million in funding is going yet. The way it's going to work is 25 organizations, which can be local governments, tribal governments, nonprofits, or health organizations, will be selected from a pool of many applicants. And the applicants needed to be submitted to the administration by this past Monday, February 7th. So no one has been selected yet. In these applications, the organizations needed to have listed what they plan to do with the money. When the 25 organizations or governments are selected, they will each get up to $400,000 per year over the next 3 years. But
let's be clear about one thing about what she just said. Guarantee you the government knows where that money is going because they know where it's going before they even go to allocate it. Let's be very clear about that. Even though they might say it was open application, all this other crap, 9 times out of the 10, it's going to be going to more white areas, more white nonprofits, because this is how that shit works. And if the black community does get any type of funding for those programs, it's going to be very little. Guarantee you're going to get, if they're saying $400,000 a piece, I guarantee you it's going to, they say 20 people, 20 groups, somewhere around there. I can't remember. But if they say 20 groups, bet that 18 of those groups are going to be white or white ran. Let's be very clear about that.
again, no one has been selected, so we can't say where the money is going or what it's being used for, and each organization is likely to be using the funds for different things. So to say the funds are definitely being used for crack pipes is inaccurate. However, the instruction manual for applicants gives them a list of approved uses for the money, and this is where the crack pipes do come in. The instruction manual gives the applicants several resources they can go to for examples of approved uses. And one of those resources is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, which is an agency inside of the Department of Health and Human Services. I always get that backwards. Now, when you go to their website under harm reduction, it clearly states safe smoking supplies. And when you look into what safe smoking supplies are, some lists have, as you can see right here at the top, crack and meth pipes. However, some lists only include the stems, mouthpieces, and screens. So we know the administration authorized funds for safe smoking supplies to be applied for, but nonprofits or health organizations will be selected from a pool of many applicants. And the applicants needed to be submitted to the administration by this past Monday, February 7th. So no one has been selected yet. In these applications, the organizations needed to have listed what they plan to do with the money. When the 25 organizations or governments are selected, they will each get up to $400,000 per year over the next 3 years. But again, no one has been selected, so we can't say where the money is going or what it's being used for, and each organization is likely to be using the funds for different things. So to say the funds are definitely being used for crack pipes is inaccurate. However, the instruction manual for applicants gives them a list of approved uses for the money, and this is where the crack pipes do come in. The instruction manual gives the applicants several resources they can go to for examples of approved uses, and one of those resources is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, which is an agency inside of the Department of Health and Human Services. I always get that backwards. Now,
crack pipes and meth pipes. Crack pipes and meth pipes. Crack pipes and meth pipes. So when they say that it's incorrect, they're lying to you. It's totally correct because this is exactly what was in the packet itself, inside of the whole proposition. The obligation of being able to do, or what they will be able to do.
When you go to their website under harm reduction, it clearly states safe smoking supplies. And when you look into what safe smoking supplies are, some lists have, as you can see right here at the top, crack and meth pipes.
Crack and meth pipes. Hard R, crack and meth pipes. So far, everything that we've heard has been true. Now let's see if it's for racial inequalities, shall we?
However, some lists only include the stems, mouthpieces, and screens. So we know the administration authorized funds for safe smoking supplies to be applied for, but because we don't know who is ultimately going to get the funds and we don't know what was in their applications, there's no way to definitively say they were going to be used for crack pipes. But we now know they won't be because of the attention on it and the White House definitively coming out and saying, that they're not going to be using it for that. However, Jen Psaki saying it was misinformation and that the funds were never going to be used for pipes is maybe a little white lie. So it's very possible that had this...
Not a white lie, a black lie. A full-blown lie to the face of Black America. And just you trying to water it up with prettier language, that ain't helping nothing, because all it does is show that you're trying to freaking backtrack now. But let's finish. Let's hear this racial equality situation on the matter.
This not made headline news. Some of the money was going to be used as such. Now, the last fact check is on the advancing racial equality claim. The administration did not say they were giving these crack pipes out to Black people so they could have as easy access to the paraphernalia as Hunter Biden, as I've seen on, these are claims that are circulating on social media. But the grant program does state that priority will be given to applicants who serve communities that are historically underserved. So yes, more of the funds will likely, and in my opinion, rightfully, end up in communities of color where drug use is disproportionately high. However, I think they could phrase it as the...
So basically, everything we said was correct. And you wonder why we're leaving the Democratic Party in droves. And you wonder why the Democratic Party is going to hell in a handbasket. Really, the Republican Party, too. But if you really want to know why Black people are leaving, it ain't got nothing at all to do with these four. Maybe some pieces of it, sure. But because defund the police? Huh? No, I don't care nothing about that. What we care about is reparations and a transformative Black agenda. We just sat here and listened to everything that this woman come out of her mouth, that came out of this woman's mouth, say. Everything that we was talking about, but yet she put a bunch of fucking flowers on it and tried to make it seem like this is a good thing, and in my opinion it's a great thing, and all this other bullshit. In my opinion, it should go to people of color communities. Bitch, what community do you live in? Because you already made it clear that you live in a drug-ridden area, so maybe it should go to your community. Is that what you're saying? Do you own or are you a founder of a nonprofit? I'm just wondering. See, this is the thing that people, they really just spit in your face and then try to sit here and tell you that it's about everything else. They try to tell you that it's about everything else but the shit that is actually about. And we ain't having it no more. We done. These chicks ain't got nothing to do with Jack. Because at the end of the day, when white supremacy done with their tools, they break them. And they're broken. They're getting broken right now, right here in our face. And you love to see it. But what I don't love to see is the media telling lies about why you're seeing it. You ain't seeing it because black people and Americans are moving away from the Democratic Party because of these four. You're seeing it because black people has woken up to everything that has been going on with these coon butt licks who's supposed to represent us. And you ain't heard nobody from the CBC get up and stand up against this. Where is the Congressional Black Caucus? The Congressional Immigrant Caucus is what we call it nowadays. The Congressional Everybody Deserves Everything Caucus. Because they damn sure don't stand for black interests. They don't stand for black people. We ain't having it. And that's why black people are leaving the Democratic Party in droves. The doors of the church are now closed. If you found any value in this video, please like, share, subscribe. Get this message out. Let's all get on one page. Because all this bullshit, it's disrespectful. And it's going to stop. Or we're going to stop it.